As I record this, it's June 8th, 2018, and I am 60 years old. I really don't understand how I got to 60 for a whole bunch of reasons. I'm sure I was 40 less than 20 years ago. However, I woke up this morning, and as I stood in my kitchen mixing my apple cider vinegar anti-inflammatory drink that is somewhat mandatory of my age, my BBC News app flashed. And as I looked at it, I saw something that touched me deeply, and a wave of sadness that was in many ways out of context, because I didn't know the man that the BBC was telling me had died. Anthony Bourdain, who I'm sure you're familiar with, was 61 years old, basically my age. He died in France while he was away shooting his CNN series called Parts Unknown. He's a cooking guy, he's a journalist, did amazing things. Like I said, I didn't know the man other than in the way that any of us really knows a celebrity, which is via this distorted lens of fame. And as I'm here speaking with you, I'm thinking about the title of that show, Parts Unknown. And I was thinking about that this morning, and I'm struck by the fact that the real parts that are unknown are often the parts we refuse to see or don't want to believe are real. The parts unknown are the parts that are under the surface. And that may be particularly true for those that we hold in a place of fame or celebrity. And we live in a time where fame is often a bigger goal than being a brain surgeon or being any of those kinds of things. Fame is held in such high esteem. And we're led to believe that fame will solve all our problems. And the truth is, it probably will for a short period of time. But when the adoring fans, the paparazzi, and the recognition have faded away, and by that I mean even for the day, we are all, even celebrities, left to wrestle whatever demons that we've been carrying around. And the truth of the matter is, and I want everybody to grasp this, because Anthony Bourdain died because he suicided. And 99.9% of us would have looked at Anthony Bourdain and thought that's not possible. Why would that guy suicide? But here's my point to you. No one is too big to suicide. In fact, that's the hashtag I'm going to start. Too big to suicide. No one is too big, too powerful, too famous to avoid suicide. I read today that the US government health officials said that national suicides have risen by, wait for this blew my mind, by 30% since 1999. Like in less than 20 years, it's gone up by 30%. The suicide rate is at crisis level. So I went and did some research. The American Journal of Psychiatry found that major depression rates in American adults have more than doubled between 1991 and 2002. So that's the 10 years before. And according to the World Health Organization, there are more than 350 million seriously depressed individuals worldwide. That is more than the population of the United States. And the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention states that there were 45,000 suicides in 2016. And they estimated that for every successful suicide, there's another 25 unsuccessful attempts. That's pretty devastating, right? I think you would agree that that is mind-blowing. So what are we not seeing? What are we not paying attention to? How are we missing it? Well, maybe, and this is what I want to put forward to you, maybe you've heard the saying that those who need love the most are the ones who seem to deserve it the least. I think most of us have heard that statement. But I want to put something else forward to you. That maybe the ones who need love are the ones who don't seem to need it. Maybe we need to give love to the people who don't seem to need it. You see, so often we look at people, not just the famous, not just celebrities, but anyone with a big personality and think, look at them, they're so comfortable in themselves, they're so confident. This person, they don't need my love, they don't need my validation. But if that's what you're thinking, you could be dead wrong. We all need love. We all need real love. We all need real intimacy. I think you know that in my work, I've had the opportunity, the honor of working with some amazing individuals around the world from all kinds of backgrounds. And every now and then I'm working with somebody who is extremely wealthy and talking to me about how sad they are that they can't find love. And I said, well, why can't you find love? And often they'll tell me, well, I've got all this money. And I have to question, do they really love me or is it the money? When you're famous, even in a small way, it's easy to wonder, do they love me or do they love the persona that they've been shown through social media or through whatever it might be? Or is it something that they've made up about who I am? You see, at the end of each day, each of us crawls into our own beds, and as fancy or as rough as that bed might be, in that moment, we're left with ourselves. And what shows up is often nothing to do with fame, fortune, success, celebrity, adoring fans, but rather the complete aloneness. I know this personally. You see, every one of us is fighting our own battles. For many people inside of their own heads, that battle sounds like it's never going to get any better. We've all heard the rhetoric of, and it's true, so don't get me wrong, it's rhetoric, but it is true, and that is that suicide is a permanent solution to a semi-permanent problem. But in that person's mind, and I've worked with suicidal people, and I know this, inside that person's mind is this rhetoric inside their head, which is it's never going to get any better. And even though whatever it is for them, does get better, when that person's in the dark place, it's reminiscent of them being there before. And therefore, it does feel like it's never going to get any better. Feels very real. Again, every one of us is fighting our own battle. And I've thought a lot about this. I've thought about, well, what is it? I see people talk, post things that you probably saw that on Facebook I posted about Anthony Bourdain's death. And, people put things down there. And I think there's a great deal of naivety about why people suicide. And people say things like it's a coward's way out, or this person just lacked purpose. Those things have an aspect of truth to them, but they're not. There's a deeper piece here. The reason we don't see it is because we don't know what the other person's it is. You see, that it is what triggers the hopelessness. So if it feels like to that person, it's never going to get any better, you have to know what that it is. You have to know what that it is to them. So you can be talking to them about how it's a permanent solution to a semi-permanent problem. But if you don't know what the it is, you can't talk to the hopelessness that person is experiencing in that moment. Does this make sense? I hope so. I hope you're beginning to get this. And what I really wanted to bring up here is how, I just gave you all those stats about suicide, but I actually want to bring it home a little closer to men. We are losing more and more men to suicide. And it's a call for men to change. See, so many men are hurting inside and they pass that pain on. And we all know this. We've seen the research around how hurt people and how men who went through certain things, they act those things out. But here's the thing, I gave you all the stats, but what we probably don't think about is this, is that 76% of all suicides are men. And this is bloody mind-blowing. Do you know what the biggest cause of death in men under 35 is? I bet you can guess now. It's suicide. The biggest cause of death in men under 35 is suicide. That breaks my heart. We shame men for their feelings. We tell boys to stop crying. But, when you think about it, I was thinking about this morning, is that we learn to cry before we can even speak. Crying is a natural expression, not just of sadness, but of joy. And we tell ourselves and we tell each other to toughen up, buttercup. Well, what about feeling? Real men feel. Real men feel. And we've got to really grasp this. We've got to grasp the it that makes life hopeless for somebody who is going to commit suicide. Because I want you to grasp this so that you can help the people around you and not blow off somebody because they appear confident. And that means that they would never suicide. Remember, no one is too big to suicide. No one. In fact, we're all shocked when somebody like Anthony Bourdain or somebody famous or some celebrity, because we look at them and we go, how could they? I mean, they have everything, but you're not in their battle. You're not in their battle. Now, here's the thing. You know this as well as I do. I didn't know Anthony Bourdain personally, but I am impacted by his action. And I talked about what I just said, purpose, impact, loyalty. At a level of impact, everything you are doing is having impact. We sometimes like to think to ourselves, well, I'm not having impact because I'm not a true leader. I'm not a CEO. I'm not a president. I'm not a senator. I'm not a whatever the title might be. But you have impact. You are a leader because you're having impact as a parent, as an uncle, as an aunt, as a sibling, as a teacher, as a friend. You are having impact. And in order to have impact, it's important that you speak up and share. Now, I talked about this toughen up buttercup nonsense. And it seems to me that we're living so much in a polarized world these days where men are uncomfortable being men because they're getting shit for it. And they don't really know how to be a man. They don't know how to own and claim their masculinity. But at the same time, they don't know how to own and claim their softer side. And we all need that. There is a yin and yang to everything in life. Nothing is without its balance. So, I often will see these guys who are so yin that they've lost their own testicles, that they don't know how to step up and be fierce when sometimes that's needed. And they want to whimper in the corner. And I'm not telling them to toughen up buttercup. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying sometimes you've got to get over whatever's in the way. You've got to climb over it. Even if it's a bare belly on glass, you've got to climb over it because there's something that matters more. But at the same time, you've got to embrace the yin. You've got to be able to hold both sides of yourself. I used to talk about this years ago when I talked about women trying to be men. And I said I was concerned for women who were running for politics who were so busy trying to be guys that they might out testosterone the men. That's freaking scary. And it's equally as scary to me as these men who don't have any grit. We need grit and we need softness. We need both. So don't assume one thing over the other. Don't assume that the guy who's always crying is going to suicide. That may not be the case at all. But also don't assume that that guy can actually ever do anything that will be fully present and be able to tough through what needs to be done and have the grit to do it. At the same time, don't assume that the guy who has the grit, who has the drive, that he doesn't break down in silence. Now, I got friends who are ex-Marines and SAS, tough guys. But they understand that real leadership is self-knowledge. It starts here, in your own heart, in your own soul. They have a yin-yang balance. They will talk to me about their feelings. They will share with them. They're not going to let them get in the way, but they're also not going to repress them. Here's the thing I want you to grasp about this. When we look at addiction, do you know what the number one cause of addiction is? We think that we've got all these old theories about addiction, and we actually we're so outdated on what we think it is, what we believe causes it. But I'm going to tell you what causes it. It's a lack of community. You go research it. You'll find some amazing research on it. It's a lack of community. When we don't have community, when we don't have a tribe, when we don't have people that we can deeply connect with, that we can be honest and open and vulnerable with, that's what keeps us alive. And you know what pushes us over the edge into suicide, into addiction, into violence? Shame. Shame. So if you don't have a community of support and you're getting shamed, then the likelihood of you being violent, and whether that's violent to another person or violent to your children or violent to your partner or violent to yourself, is going to go through the roof if you don't have a community and if you're being shamed. But here's the thing. Are you shaming you? Are you shaming you? Because there is suicide prevention hotlines, and there are your friends, and there are people who genuinely want to listen. There are people who deeply, deeply care. They really do. So let me ask you, not just men, but women too. Because I know a lot of tough women. When was the last time you cried? Tell me in the comments here. When was the last time you cried? Tears of joy, tears of pain, tears of sadness, whatever the tears were. When was the last time you let yourself cry? And when was the last time you let yourself be held? I mean, really let yourself have that level of vulnerability, because your real power is in your vulnerability. If you want to create loyalty, it's in your vulnerability. You've heard me speak about this 1,000 times. Your vulnerability has powerful impact. And I'm not talking about you being emotionally vomiting on people and just being a weeping mess for no damn good reason. But whatever the reason is, it has to be expressed. You have to let it out. What you repress will suffocate you. It will suffocate your soul. We need yin, we need yang. We need the two sides to come together. When was the last time you cried? When was the last time you let yourself be held? This is an important question for all of us, male and female. But I want to take this into a deeper conversation. I believe that the leadership journey is in fact a hero's journey. And you've heard me talk about that many times. If you've watched any of my videos or listened to my podcast, leadership is a hero's journey. But let's just think about that for a moment. If we stretch out that hero's journey over time from when you're born to when you pass. And the question is, first of all, are you living a heroic journey? Or are you sitting quietly in the corner, repressing your feelings, trying not to offend anybody, trying not to have an opinion? Or are you fully stepping in to own and claim your power? When you break that hero's journey out into pieces, there are minuscule, the sort of mini hero's journeys. Some of you might be familiar with the Mandelbrot set. If you don't know what it is, put it in YouTube, in Google, put Mandelbrot set GIF, and you'll see it. It looks like a Paisley pattern. It's actually mathematics, and it shows you how the universe is built. It's beautiful. And it looks like a Paisley pattern, and then in the GIF, it will allow you to zoom in, tighter and tighter into the Mandelbrot. And then when you get into the smallest part, you realize you're in a big part again. And so it just keeps getting smaller and smaller and deeper, and then it opens up, and you can see that that you're going deeper in. And that's what I mean about these mini heroic journeys. The Mandelbrot set, the heroic journey is the big picture. And as you hone in on it, you'll see that there is these little heroic journeys in there. And maybe the heroic journey you're on right now is a conversation with a person you love, who it's difficult to have the conversation with. Maybe it's a step in your career and the level of courage that you need in order to fully step in and claim your value. I want you to grasp that you are important, your life matters, you get to have impact. I'm sharing this with you because it was an awakening for me to hear about Anthony Bourdain's suicide this morning, because I'm familiar with those feelings. This is not me being preachy. This is not me lecturing you. This is me telling you, I know those feelings. Am I strong? Yes. Am I confident? Yes. Do I have grit? Yes. Would most people think that I've been darkly depressed? No. Would most people think that 1,000 suicidal thoughts have run through my head? Probably not, but they have. And sometimes not for years and years and years. And sometimes something triggers it and I go down that road. And it takes a while. It takes effort. It takes commitment to come out of it. But you know what it takes more than anything? It takes my tribe. And I'll talk to you more about tribes in another one of these broadcasts. But it takes a tribe. It takes you to know that you have those people that you can go to. You see, in my tribe, I've surrounded myself with people who are deeply feeling individuals. Yes, they're all driven. They're all purposeful. They're all on purpose. They're all driven. They're all leaders. They're all doing amazing things in the world in their own way. They're all committed to having impact. So again, they're leaders. They're purpose driven. They're having impact. And each one of them has a fiercely loyal tribe of their own. That is my tribe. It doesn't mean I don't go down, but it means that I've got a tribe to go to. And you have to have your tribe. If you feel that isolation, if you put yourself in that isolation, and if you then shame yourself, and please don't shame yourself about not having a tribe. I'm not giving you anything to shame yourself about. I'm giving you awareness to change things. No one is too big to suicide. So keep your eyes open. Pay attention to the people around you. Notice. And when somebody goes, no, I'm fine, pay attention. Pay attention. Your life matters. And I know when you're in that shitty place, it can feel like it doesn't, but it does. Tell someone the it. Remember I said earlier that sometimes it can feel like it's not going to get any better? Tell somebody what that it is. It doesn't, it will feel hard to say. It might feel shameful to say, but it, describing the it to somebody, helping them understand it, sometimes that's exactly where the solution is. They go, oh, that's the it. Let me help you. And not with some rhetoric, but oftentimes it's like, oh, there's a strategy, there's a solution. No one is too big. No one is too famous. No one is too celebrity. Open your eyes, open your heart, and open to your tribe. I hope you found this valuable, and I hope that you will share it with other people. I hope you'll hit that share button and share this with other people if you think this is important. I do. I think you saw that I did a video about suicide with veterans, but this is about all of us. And it's particularly about leaders and people who others look up to. And I'm guessing if you're watching this, you're someone that others look up to. That people maybe would never think that about you. But this is the other Me Too movement. This is the Me Too movement of pain carried. And it doesn't mean you're pretending. I'm not saying that at all. This is not about pretending and saying, well, I'm covered up. I'm not saying that about you. I'm saying that there are moments when you can feel that and it's okay. But you gotta have support. We all got to have support. So I thank you for your support. I thank you for being in my tribe. I thank you for embracing leadership at a personal level and looking at what your purpose is so that you can have impact and create loyalty in your own tribe. And if I can help you, then talk to me. Let's have a discovery conversation about how I can serve you. I work with people just like you. I'm committed to making a difference in the lives of the leaders of the world. Whether you're a leader of you or a leader of millions. Okay? I see you. I believe in you. Come talk to me. Let me help you. Let me serve you. And if you can't talk to me and you don't want to talk to me, that's okay. And talk to somebody. But keep talking. Especially if nobody thinks that that would be you. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. I hope you found this valuable. Again, I hope you'll share this with others. You're not alone. Till next time, Dov Baron, Full Monty Leadership saying, stay curious, my friend. Stay curious about who needs your love, who doesn't look like they do. Dov Baron, I'm out.